What is going on, everybody? It is your boy. It is the Crown Vic Kid here, and I'm just going to give you a update and show you what's been going on around here lately. Lots of stuff is going on. Lots of parts are coming in, and I feel like at the moment there's too many things to film, but there are plenty of things to show. So let's go ahead and do that. Right here, as you see in this corner, we have plenty of tools here for the engine rebuild. So a lot of specialty tools, measurement tools. And what you see here, that harness right there was from another 89 that I got from one of my guys, one of my friends off of the Facebook group I'm in. And I depinned that, and I used the connectors that were still good on that, and I put it on the original harness. Alright, here we go. Here is the original harness with some of the old connectors that I broke, and I still have no idea what this is to, but we'll find out here shortly. There's one connector that I had, yeah, there it is. So this connector, this bad boy still needs to be replaced, because I ended up messing with the other one. So, but fuel injectors have new connectors. Some of the sensor connectors have been switched out, and then I even did a repair. So this is the original, that right in there is the original connector. Right here, it had a fray, and there was exposed copper wire. So I took this connector from the old harness, or the other harness, I spliced it, a solder seal butt end connector on there, and I wrapped it with electrical tape, put this heat shield over it, and then to put the loom over, then I wrapped the loom, heated up the tape, called that a day. So there's that. I'm going to do that today. So what you see here is a brand new tank. I dropped the old tank, and the old tank had varnish in it. So right here, this is going to be a repair hose for the fuel line on the fuel tank. And then we have the fuel tank vent valve. We also have some new vacuum tubing that I think is too big by looking at it. Some vacuum connectors and whatnot. Pretty much it. All the fuel stuff is on the way. And then once the fuel stuff gets in here, then we can focus on that. Alright, so here's the fuel tank that came out of my Crown Vic. I think that's the fuel sender's sensor switch. And then we have the hoses, the original hoses. There's the vent valve right there. Here's the electrical connector that plugs into the fuel pump. And then I forgot which side is feed and return. So yeah, that is going to be vent. That small one's going to be vent, and that might be return. This one might be feed. I'm not too sure. And then here's the filler neck with gas cap in it. I don't know if you could see inside of there, but it does not look pretty good. It looks pretty, I mean, it looks clean. Don't get me wrong, but there's just so much varnish in that gasoline. It's not even worth it. So I threw some kitty litter in there to absorb whatever gas is left in there, and then I left it open so this way the fumes can vent out and this thing wouldn't be such a big hazard. Hence why it's up against the fence and away from the house about 100 feet. Pretty easy to get out, frustrating for sure, but the other one will go back in just fine. Oh yes, before I forget, here's what the fuel pump looked like coming out of the tank. There's the hanger, and then the filter, which should be a snow white, and from sitting in the tank, that is a nice golden color. Fuel pump itself doesn't look too bad, but you know, that's just something that you would want to replace. You know, you don't want to mismatch, take it apart, and you can do it, but I just don't have the time nor the patience. So a whole new fuel pump will be arriving, and then we'll be putting that in the new tank, not the old tank. Alright, so here's the new engine here, parked up or placed right next to Crown Vic. So for today's project, like I said earlier, we're going to take that wiring harness that you saw earlier on the table, and we're going to replace it. So some of the sensors that are on this 91 engine can come off. So don't know what that is, but that might be coming off. And this vacuum setup back here, that's definitely going to come off. So a lot of the vacuum routing and vacuum hoses is pretty much the same, which is a good thing. So now that I'm looking at it, that looks like it could use a gasket. I don't know. Seems to me that it does. Anyway, so yeah, that's the engine part. Take the harness off for this, put the new harness on, or the old harness on, and call that a good day. I just want to follow this wiring harness, and I want to point out where the sensor locations are. So we have a fuel injector. I found out what this is. This is intake air temperature. Fuel injector, and then fuel injector. We have UGR. This is TPS, IAC. These two go to the main harness on a 91. This I am not too sure of, but it's there. Fuel injector. Right there. Fuel injector. And then we have more fuel injectors. This is a sensor that I don't know, right there. And then another sensor. I have no idea what that goes to, or what that does. That might be coolant, if I remember. I don't know. Those are all the sensor locations for the harness. Just wanted to put that in the video just so we all know how many sensors need to go where, which should be pretty easy to do. One more sensor that seems that I have missed. This is the coolant temp sensor, right on top of the thermostat housing. Right, and that goes into the rest of the harness. Alright, so these are the two wiring harnesses next to each other. That's the 89, that's the 91. Yeah, we have some differences, right? Like this, they made this into like a heat shielding for the 91, and seems to be a lot less connectors. And then the 89 is just one big loom. So looks like they were progressing to making the 89 wiring harness more simple compared to the 91. So I have gotten this connector, which I believe to be the actual coolant temp. So here is the pigtail for it. Alright, so there's the actual pigtail for it. And then here is what it'll be replacing, as you can see. So it's pretty simple. You just take a pick and you take the small screwdriver, pop that lock out, and there's two small clips underneath the pins. You put the pick underneath the pin, and then you take your screwdriver, and then you put your screwdriver down into the hole while you're pressing the pick, and then the pin slides right out. See if I can give you a demonstration. So first things first, take the screwdriver, get this out. There's that lock, right? Then from here you put the screwdriver in there. Screwdriver, place pressure on the screwdriver, take your pick, press down on the clip inside, and then push down. And you just push down a little bit more until that pin comes all the way out. And for reference, for this sensor in particular, green wire is on the right, and then black with like a red or white stripe is on the left. Okay, so you basically do it for the same thing on the other side. Screwdriver, pick, and just push it all the way through. There you go. That's the weather seal, and that's how you take off that connector. Also, another little side note thing. These vacuum controllers, 15 sits on the left, 20 sits on the right. Alright, so the 89 harness is now on the 91 engine. So everything was simple plug and play. So we have, I don't know what sensor that is, but that's there. Still don't know what sensor this is, but that's there. TPS, EGR, IAC. Then we wrap around the back here. Nothing got in the way. Everything is in its place. We have the injectors for 1, 2, 3, 4 there. There you go. And now we have coolant temp right there. And I don't know what this is to. I also put in this little extra rubber seal that I had because that was originally on this. This wasn't connecting all the way, so I put it there just in case that needed it. Hopefully, I mean, it should work. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't. The sensors are all the same, and the harness is now set up for an 89 ECU. The sensors should read the same, or the computer should be able to read the sensors. They are the same, or at least I think they are at the moment. And then we have the main harness connectors shown in the back, so we'll leave those like that. It just has to run. It doesn't have to look pretty. But yes, sir, we are getting close. So that's finally done. That'll be the end of the project for this weekend. Since I'm waiting on the fuel pump, I'm not really going to rush anything this weekend. So one more thing before we put this thing away. We'll do the crossover, because when I was taking the engine out of the 91, I broke the crossover right over there. Alright, so here is the passenger side head from the 89, and here's the original crossover. So we'll just get that off of there, double check that that matches with this crossover right here, and we are golden. Alright, so we have an interesting find here, and I think it's very important to note. So I would like to draw your attention to that clogged up EGR port on the passenger side cylinder head. Look at that thing. Now, this is off the 89. This is off of that car, which is running very, very poorly. Now take a look at the crossover pipe. Look how gunked up, clogged up that is. Let's say I didn't catch this. Check valve is probably all gummed up. And then I put that on this engine. This engine would have ran like garbage, just like the original one did out of this. And I'm slowly finding out, slowly learning that the EGR system is a huge, huge contributing factor as to how poorly or how great these engines run. Now if we come over here to the 91 and we take a look at this crossover, look how clean that is. No gunk, no buildup. Same thing on that side. Look at that. Take a look at the cylinder heads. Clean. Clean. I gotta take those shavings out, but just crazy. Let's say I didn't pull the engine. And let's say that I diagnosed the engine. The EGR system would have been gummed up and would have been completely backing up, and this thing would have still been running rough. So I'm glad I caught that. I don't know how hard it is to take out that crossover when the engine's in the car. Probably take off the hood and then you would be able to take it out. But the way it sits is the easiest way to get to it. I don't see any other real way. But yeah, that is crazy. So, man, alright. Well, we learn something new every day. So there it is. There you have it. There is my update to what's going on here. We have a lot of stuff that needs to be done to this car, but today we're going to just take it very slow, do one thing at a time. Once the fuel pump stuff comes in, then the fuel tank will go in, and I think that'll be a good sign to put the engine in. So we will get there very shortly. But so anyway, I appreciate you sticking around. Continue watching. Comment, like, subscribe, share this to all your friends. If you have any friends that have any Crown Vics, send them my way and show them my progress. And remember, just go outside and work on your car. I'm working on mine today, so you should too. Alright, I'll catch you next week.